which I do not think is the driving standard in modern politics today.
The new book is entitled Fluke, Chance, Chaos, and Why Everything We Do Matters. Morning Joe Weekend continues after a short break.
I've never been healthier.
Shingles doesn't care, but Shingrix protects. Proven over 90% effective, Shingrix is a vaccine used to prevent shingles in adults 50 years and older. Shingrix does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients or to a previous dose. An increased risk of Guillain-Barré syndrome was observed after getting Shingrix. Fainting can also happen. The most common side effects are pain, redness and swelling at the injection site, muscle pain, tiredness, headache, shivering, fever, and upset stomach. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Shingrix today.
When you're the leader in disaster cleanup and restoration, how do you make like it never even happened happen? Let it rain, Randy! Woo! Yes! By being prepared for anything! Woo! Whatever comes your way, there's a pro for that.
Serve Pro, like it never even happened.
Known as a passionate artist, known for loving the outdoors, known for getting everyone together. No one wants to be known for cancer, but a treatment can be. Keytruda is known to treat cancer, FDA approved for 16 types of cancer, including certain early-stage cancers. One of those cancers is triple-negative breast cancer. Keytruda may be used with chemotherapy medicines as treatment before surgery and then continued alone after surgery when you have early-stage breast cancer and are at high risk of it coming back.
Keytruda can cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This may be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, severe nausea or vomiting, headache, light sensitivity, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, fever, rash, itching or flushing. There may be other side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system problems. If you've had or plan to have an organ or stem cell transplant, receive chest radiation, or have a nervous system problem.
Keytruda is an immunotherapy and is also being studied in hundreds of clinical trials exploring ways to treat even more types of cancer. It's true. Keytruda from Merck. See all the types of cancer Keytruda is known for at Keytruda.com and ask your doctor if Keytruda could be right for you.
When you have chronic kidney disease, there are places you'd like to be. Like here. And here. Not so much here. Farxiga reduces the risk of kidney failure, which can lead to dialysis.
Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections, and low blood sugar. A rare, life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, an allergic reaction, or ketoacidosis.
When you have chronic kidney disease, it's time to ask your doctor for Farxiga, because there are places you want to be.
If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
We want to get the newsmakers, the people that are in the middle of what is happening.
It's about the conversation.
Conversation we begin and that you continue all week long.
But we're going to be able to add context and analysis that only we can.
A lot of Americans check out of conversations. We want to check them in.
We're focused on the stakes of this election, not the odds.
The latest in the 2024 campaign trail, we do it all.
And trust me, it's not all politics.
Don't miss the weekends.
Saturday and Sunday mornings at 8
on MSNBC.
Among the remaining hostages is 23-year-old Romy Gonen. She was abducted by Hamas from the Nova music festivals. It's believed that she and the other hostages are being held in horrific conditions with little food, fresh air, or sunlight. Her sister Yarden recently spoke to activist Mandana Dayani about the mounting concern she has for Romy's physical and mental well-being. Take a look.
She's my little sister. And she's 23 years old. She have all of her life in front of her. but the mental breakdown that they can or already are experiencing, it's not something that necessarily they could recover from. They told the ones that was released that with the physical injury, they can deal. It's okay. But with the mental condition, it's not that easy. And it's getting harder. At first, I was trying to be so strong, and I was, and I still am, but every day it's getting harder to hold it and to feel like nobody cares.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah. Lately I see the hate, the hatred for us. Like we deserve it. Like my sister deserved it.
And Mandana Dayani joins us now. Mandana, incredible interview. You recently did that interview in Israel, marking the 100 days of captivity for the remaining hostages still being held by Hamas. Tell us more about that conversation. Is there any information on Romi and her current condition? Any pictures released? Any knowledge if she's even still alive?
Yeah, it's now been 111 days since she's been held captive. She was taken from the Nova Music Festival where, her friends were murdered and she sustained a horrible injury from a gunshot to her arm. Some of the hostages that had returned over 50 days ago told Yarden, her sister, that they saw Romi, that she was alive, but that she was in, really desperate need of medical attention, that her hands had changed color. She wasn't able to move her fingers anymore. Yarden lives with a very real fear every single day that her sister could now be over 3 months pregnant with the terrorist captors. Many of the hostages that returned reported repeated rape and sexual assault. And, without having any ability to know the conditions of her sister, whether she's getting any medical attention, when they're coming home. Again, none of these families want war. They just want their families back.
You also visited Sheba Hospital, where you met with 2 doctors who have worked closely with both the victims of the October 7th attack and the hostages who have since returned. What did we learn, especially from the returning hostages, to give us a sense of what's going on in there?
Yeah, they just talked about the devastation and how hard it's been to treat these hostages that come home, the reunification with their family members, notifying them of their loved ones that have passed away since they've been gone. There's a profound mental health crisis amongst the entire country. One of the doctors talked about, she said, look, I've never turned a patient away. Our doors are open to anyone who comes here. We treat everyone. When I get a call from my resident, I don't ask who they are. Our job as doctors is to treat people, and all I want is the same care to people that are in Gaza, to these hostages. She said this is the same message that she gave President Biden when he visited. A lot of these hostages have very real life-threatening issues, and they just want them to receive medical care. She talked a lot about what it was like to be on call on October 7th, the atrocities, seeing families, children that were burned in their mother's arms who had to hide under dead bodies. It was, as she defined, a pogrom. And I think there's a profound heartbreak that they feel that the international community couldn't condemn or couldn't say, hey, raping a woman and leaving a knife inside of her when she entered the hospital was wrong. There was just, the level of atrocity was so heartbreaking.
Morning Joe Weekend continues after a short break.
Everything we build is from the ground up. Every great idea, every crazy idea, every next idea. Everything you see, everything you feel when you drive it. We put everything we have into our trucks, so you get everything out of them. Ram, trucks are what we do.
During the Ram Start Something New sales event, get $4,500 cash allowance on the purchase of virtually all 2024 Ram 1500 trucks.
With Nurtec ODT, I can treat and prevent my migraine attacks all in one.
Don't take if allergic to Nurtec. Allergic reactions can occur even days after using. Most common side effects were nausea, indigestion, and stomach pain. Talk to your doctor about Nurtec today.
Jorge has always put the ones he loves first. But when it comes to caring for his teeth, he's let his own maintenance take a back seat. Well, maybe it's time to shift gears on that. Because Aspen Dental has the latest technology and equipment with a staff that goes out of their way to provide exceptional care, plus free exams and x-rays for new patients without insurance and 20% off treatment plans. Making it easier to get started with quality care. It's one more way Aspen Dental is in your corner.
There's nothing better than a Subway Series footlong, except when you add on an all-new footlong sidekick. We're talking a $2 footlong churro, $3 footlong pretzel, and a $5 footlong cookie. Every epic footlong deserves a perfect sidekick. Order one with your favorite Subway Series sub today.
Hair has always been pretty central to my identity.
Once I started taking Nutrafol, I could visibly see my hair get thicker.
It made my hair stronger, and the breakage is less.
At Nutrafol, we want to empower women to have the best hair they can have. Nutrafol is 100% drug-free and the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement.
Nutrafol has taken me back to the hair I was meant to have.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
Look, they're even hiring freelance tax experts on Fiverr.
Man, it probably works better than how we do our taxes here.
Aren't you in charge of filing our taxes?
This tax season, hire a tax expert on Fiverr.
Your logo can identify your company, inspire your customers, and energize your team. We're 4imprint, and we can help your logo create moments that matter. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
Victims of mesothelioma and their families may be entitled to receive a cash award from the estimated $30 billion in asbestos trust funds now available. Over $50 billion has been awarded already. If you have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer caused by asbestos, call the number on your screen now. We have served victims of mesothelioma and their families nationwide for over 30 years. We have successfully recovered hundreds of millions of dollars for thousands of our clients. Even if a family member has passed due to mesothelioma, you may still be entitled to a cash award. So call now for your free evaluation. We want to help victims of mesothelioma and lung cancer, and your families get the financial compensation you deserve from the estimated $30 billion in trust funds now available. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call 1-800-290-7477 now or visit us at mesofund.com.
We're talking about deliberate extermination over many years.
Yeah, but wasn't slavery for like hundreds of years, right, Isabel?
Slavery lasted 246 years. That's 13 generations of people, plus another 100 years of Jim Crow, segregation, violence, and murder.
It is, of course, horrific. I am not downplaying any of it.
There were so many millions of African Americans who were murdered. From the Middle Passage until the end of legal segregation, that it goes beyond the realm of an official number. There is no number.
I didn't know that. Oh, stunning.
It is, and I understand you're trying to make sense of American racism. It is noble. But your thesis linking caste in Germany with the United States is flawed.
That was a clip from the new film from award-winning director Ava DuVernay, and it's entitled Origin. It has been getting rave reviews. Rolling Stone writes it may be the most important biopic of a book ever made, and the Washington Post called it one of the most powerful films on screen this season. The movie is based on the book Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents, but written by Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Isabel Wilkerson. It follows Wilkerson's journey to discover the roots of racism and social inequality in America and around the world. And joining us now, the film's writer and director, Academy Award-nominated filmmaker, Ava DuVernay. And it's great to have you on the show. You read the book 3 times. What made you drawn to bringing it to life?
You know, I think we're all experiencing a fatigue. I think I hear a lot of apathy from people, confusion as to how to organize our thoughts about all that's going on in the world. And that book for me was very anchoring. really captivated my imagination with a new language, this word caste that I'd never really applied to my contemporary experiences, and pulled together history, pulled together the future, put it in the present day, and became something that I wanted to make sure more people were interrogating.
So obviously, there has been so much debate, especially since 2020, over race. We now are having a battle over history for those that don't want to face our past. I am curious, though, with everything that has been written about the struggles, the race battles, not just over the past 3 years, but over the past 350, 400 years. What separates this book, and what do you think separates your movie from so many other things that have been put out there?
I don't know if it's separate. I think it's a part of the conversation. And I think kind of adding this new word in caste and inviting people to think about our divisions in a way that's not just about skin color and race, but it's about a hierarchy of human beings, the way in which we organize ourselves according to power and status, and the way that we treat each other because of that organization is a new way to drill into all of the isms. Basically, as I understood it, Isabel Wilkerson is saying and sharing this hypothesis that caste undergirds all of the isms: racism, sexism, Islamophobia, homophobia, anti-Semitism, ageism. All of them sit on top of this idea of I am better than you based on a set of random traits. That is caste. And to understand our divisions in that way, for me, allows me to talk about it in a different way that's free of some of the limitations of caste. Limitations of race. When you say race to someone, they start to shut down, and it's hard to even have a conversation about the core issues. Caste allowed that to open up a bit for me.
Monica, that does it for this Saturday edition of Morning Joe. We got
the weekend.
We got football tomorrow.
Yes, but the weekend on MSNBC starts right now.
Who are your picks?
Good morning. It is Saturday, January 27th. I'm Alicia Menendez with Simone Sanders-Townsend and Michael Steele. Here's some of the stories we're following today. A jury orders Donald Trump to pay E. Jean Carroll more than $80 million in defamation damages. Plus, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries is here at the table as Republicans struggle to do anything with their majority in the chamber. And Arizona Secretary of State demanding the Justice Department take action to protect election workers. Grab your coffee, settle in. Welcome to the weekend. We begin with that verdict in E. Jean Carroll's defamation case against Donald Trump. The $83.3 million award includes $65 million in punitive damages. Friday's verdict came after an eventful day in court. Trump stormed out of the courtroom during closing arguments while Carroll's lawyer was telling jurors the former president is a liar who thinks, quote, the rules don't apply to him. Joining us now, former U.S. Attorney Chuck Rosenberg. He's an MSNBC contributor and former senior FBI official. Also with us, MSNBC host and legal analyst Katie Fang. Katie, in the run-up to this verdict, the big question was what number is going to be big enough to make Donald Trump stop? $83.3 million. What does that mean for his future actions? And what does it mean more specifically as it forces his hand on liquidity?
I think to answer your first question, Alicia, and good morning, and thanks for having me on the weekend. I'm very excited to be on the show. I think what it means to your first question, Alicia, it's left to be seen, right? I mean, we do know that Donald Trump posted on Truth Social almost immediately after the verdict was rendered in this case. He did not mention E. Jean Carroll by name at all. He did not include what he normally did in terms of defamation of E. Jean Carroll. Of course, he claims he's going to appeal. That's a whole other cup of tea. And I think Chuck would agree with me that there are no valid grounds for an appeal in this case. But I think what's left to be seen is whether or not $83.3 million is enough to keep him quiet. Should he redirect his vitriol to somebody else, it will only result in more defamation lawsuits. I don't think he can control himself. And I think that's something that we've seen time and time again. And just like a broken record, which is Donald Trump, I think his history of legal losses is going to continue for him. And his best hits are left to be seen, I think.
You know, what really struck me, everyone, by this was in court, E. Jean Carroll's lawyer noted that she came forward because she felt it was finally time to speak about what, and then pointed to Donald Trump, he had done to her, and that she gave interviews because she had to defend herself when he attacked her, and that she brought the lawsuit to try to get him to stop. Chuck, this was about E. Jean Carroll, but it was also about accountability and the fact that powerful people don't just get to do whatever they want. And Donald Trump has bucked the law at every sense, just in terms of this case. And the lawyers made the case in court that what needs to be done for him to respect the rule of law.
Well, maybe this is a first step. I mean, you know, the verdict was large, over $80 million, but the biggest component of that, Simone, was punitive damages, right? The jury obviously felt, and unanimously so, that his conduct was both outrageous and needed to be stopped. Now, we'll see if it works. We don't know that yet. But that, I think, is a very clear signal that the law applies to him, and at least this jury in this case felt that he had not only harmed Ms. Carroll, but he ought to be punished for harming Ms. Carroll.
One of the things I found very fascinating as we looked at the professionals in the room, you know, E. Jean Carroll's lawyer, and those who were laying out the case, the judge, the jury. And then there was Alina Habba. I'd like to play her response to this verdict, if we could, just get a flavor and a feel for how Ms. Habba saw the case that she had just tried.
No. I'm glad you asked me that question. No, I'm not having any second thoughts about representing President Trump.
Her response
it is the proudest thing I could ever
to
do.
this verdict, if we could, just the proudest thing I could ever do, and a feel for how Ms. Habba saw the case that she had just at one point where she was asked, would you rather be pretty or smart? And her response was,
I'm glad you asked me that
question.
Because
I can
no, I'm not having any second thoughts about representing President Trump.
Her response,
it is the proudest thing I could ever do.
Verdict, if we could, just the proudest thing I could ever do, and a feel for how Ms. Habba saw the case that she had just one point it was to appease Trump. It was not to be pretty or smart. And her response was,
I'm glad you asked me that question. No, I'm not having any second thoughts about representing President Trump. It is the proudest thing I could ever do. You asked me that question. No, I'm not having any second thoughts about representing President Trump. It is the proudest thing I could ever do.
It was not wound up costing her client, I think, an incredible amount of money.
Yeah, I think performative, Michael, is a good word. I mean, federal court is a very staid, serious, formal place, right? It's rules and procedure. Performative doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Right.
And it's even more clear that it doesn't work when you don't have any really good facts at your disposal. And so perhaps a lawyer, I don't know this particular one, has nothing left to do but sort of make a lot
do the drama,
make a lot of noise. In the end of the day, though, the facts control, as you know, right? Wasn't it Shakespeare who had Cassius tell Brutus, the fault lies not in our stars, but in ourselves?
That's it. That's true. That's true. And so I guess the extension of the question then is, how does a jury look at that when they're looking at the weight of the matter in front of them, and they're deciding how much skin Donald Trump is going to have to pay in this, and how much he's going to put on the table? How does a jury look at the lawyers and look at the process, how Trump himself behaved? Do you think any of that drove some of the ultimate? Because actually, I thought the number would be higher. Personally, I thought the number would have been higher just based on the way Trump, behaved during various points in the case.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I thought it would be higher or lower. I thought it was high as it turned out, Michael. But I think I'd say it this way. Lawyers like to think that what they say in court matters a lot, and it matters some. But again, what really truly matters in a court of law is the law and the facts. And it doesn't matter how good you are. Maybe on television, great lawyers win cases, but in courtrooms, great facts win cases. And here, it was very clear. Mr. Trump had defamed this poor woman. He had sexually assaulted this woman. And so those facts, adduced in a court of law with a good judge presiding, results in a verdict for Ms. Carroll, as it should. I don't know that Alina Habba or anyone else could have sort of worked a miracle in Mr. Trump's favor given that set of facts.
Well, you know, Katie, the question I have is E. Jean Carroll ever going to see this money? $83.3 million is a lot of money, but I mean, we could put it on the screen. You know, New York Times has an article that notes Trump will be able to wait to pay the full $83.3 million until all appeals are exhausted. How is this going to work?
Yeah, so we've already seen this happen in the first defamation trial with E. Jean Carroll. Donald Trump, whether he was able to get a surety company to be able to facilitate him posting the bond, actually ended up posting the entirety of the bond in the amount of $5.6 million by way of stipulation, by way of agreement with E. Jean Carroll's lawyers that was deposited into the court where it sits. The additional money on top of the $5 million verdict was to cover interest as the case winds its way through the appellate process. In this instance, when this case involves this level of punitive damages, the local rules in the Southern District of New York talk about the bonds amount. It depends on the company. The bond company may require Donald Trump to post anywhere from 20%, if not more, also with collateral. So what could he use for collateral, Simone? He could use real estate properties. He could maybe find somebody else who could be serving as collateral in this instance. But the problem for Donald Trump is leverage. He's over leveraging himself. And that's what got him into trouble in the first place with the New York Attorney General's case for the civil fraud. The fact that he overinflated the value of his assets. And now the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, is seeking disgorgement